my intent is to make sure there's reasonable regulations. 2 weeks ago, I heard the gentleman right here from Shelby County saying it's right to have reasonable regulations on small businesses. I would contend to this committee that an Airbnb in your own private home is a small business. I understand that the local government needs to have the ability to regulate them, but the local government should not have the ability to completely squash you in your home and make it to where you don't have a reasonable expectation. So this bill basically does 6 things. In my effort to make sure there's reasonable expectations in Nashville and a reasonable expectation, this is what we're doing. The first one, we clarify that this bill only impacts owner-occupied short-term rentals. That means, according to the TCA, where you live, where you spend your holidays, where your address is registered to vote, where your driver's license is, that we're clarifying that this bill only impacts short-term rentals in Nashville that are where you live. Secondly, if there has been a frustration or a violation 3 times within a 12-month period, you can lose your permit. Obviously, we don't want neighborhoods having neighbors being frustrated. We have to accept the fact that there have been times with short-term rentals that neighbors are very angry at the partying and thuggery, if you will, that's going on beside them. That's not what this bill is trying to do. The reason we limit this only to short-term rentals that are owner-occupied is to make sure where you live, you're taking care of your place. So if your neighbors complain with you 3 times within a 12-month period, you can lose your permit. The third thing is it only applies to Nashville, Section 6 and 9. The fourth thing that I think is one of the most important things is that if Nashville does decide to remove a permit or a permit is coming up to be renewed, they have to give a 90-day warning. Let them know what's going on. Tell people, hey, you can't just snatch a permit from a homeowner without even letting them know and without dialoguing, without sending a letter, with anything. And the fifth thing that the bill does is if a homeowner feels like they've been done wrong by the city of Nashville, they're able to recoup their legal fees if they go to court and prove that they have been done wrong and the city of Nashville broke the law. And this allows them to recoup their legal fees. And that's basically what the bill does. And now I'm ready for questions.
All righty, thank you. Do we have questions for our bill sponsor? Any questions, any comments? I see you, Representative Thompson.
Okay, Mr. Sponsor, this applies only to Nashville. Is that what you're saying? Is that what I heard?
Mr. Sponsor.
Yes, sir, that is correct. Section 6 through 9, we've narrowed the language that this impacts Nashville.
Representative Thompson.
Can you explain why are we not putting the same bill on other municipalities and counties throughout this whole state?
Mr. Sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mr. Representative. From my studies, seeing what's going on, Nashville has been the most egregious to people who were grandfathered in. Just like this young lady you heard a few minutes ago, there was a reasonable expectation that she had that she could use her short-term rental in such a way, and then all of a sudden they just come in and decide they can't do that. Other cities in Tennessee who do have some strict regulations have been that way from the beginning. And Nashville has changed and gone back and forth so much and there's been no expectation or reasonable regulation recently. So that's why we're targeting this area right here.
One more.
Yes, sir.
So if we start having problems with other municipalities across the state, maybe even yours or mine, are we going to come back with another bill then to restrict that municipality?
Mr. Sponsor.
Absolutely. And I would remind the gentleman from Shelby County, the reason part of America's greatness is that the rule of law is here to protect the weak. Our entire institution, the way America was created, is that we have a reasonable expectation with our government and with somebody who's powerful or more powerful than us. That's why we have laws, to make sure that the rich and powerful can't just squash the little man. And what we have found here in Nashville is that the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the kangaroo courts, if you will, of the judicial and the legislative branch, they have come down and squashed the little man who's just trying their best. So I would say if there are cities who have been egregious to their people in such a way that this city has, we'll do the same there too.